All right, perfect.
What are we getting into this for?
Okay. Can everybody hear me just fine?
He just put that bad on me and said I need to get into this. He said I don't need because you do not need to actually talk.
Can anyone? Matthew and Zach, are we good to go? Can I start?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our training session today. So just a high level of what we will be going over. We'll do a quick introduction to TigetText. We'll talk a bit about what TigetText is, how we're going to use it. We'll get everyone logged in. You should have received an email to your inbox with your login information. It'll also have some training links in there and some instructions on how to change your password. So if you haven't already, please check your email and download the TigetText app onto your phone. And let me just really quickly go over what it is, just so we have the foundation set. So TigetText in a nutshell is a secure messaging solution that we're hoping will get your care team collaboration a bit more efficient and help you guys make your lives a bit easier. So here on the right side, we're hoping to enhance any kind of workflow, make things happen a bit quicker so you can just at your fingertips text a coworker, create a care team conversation about a patient. Hopefully it eliminates some phone tag that you guys may be experiencing. And of course, when it gets hectic, to make your lives a bit easier when it comes to communication. So what we will be doing in our training today is taking a look at the mobile platform, which you guys will be using heavily. I'll also have our desktop platform just passively to the side so you guys can see the interaction between both of them. So I want to take just a couple of minutes here to help you guys log in and access the app. So on your mobile phones, if you're using an iPhone, the TigetText app can be downloaded right from the App Store. It is free to download. So if you haven't already done so, go ahead and hop in there and download it. It should just take a couple of minutes, if that. If you're using an Android phone, you can download TigetText from the Google Play Store. And again, it is free to download. And once you get into the login screen, you will be using the email address that you've provided the team. And the password to log in is in that welcome email that was sent to you this morning. So just to get a feel from everyone on the call right now, has anyone logged in? Have there been any issues so far? Matthew and Zach, maybe we can open it up to a little bit of a discussion.
I think everybody here is in.
Okay. Are we good to move forward? All right.
Yes, Zach?
Zach, is everyone on your side good? You may be muted. Okay, maybe we can accept silence as a good sign. All right, so I will go ahead and hop onto the training. So what I'll be doing is I'll be switching back and forth between my PowerPoint here, and if you guys see, oops, excuse me one second while I pull this back up. But I will be using the PowerPoint here. I will have my desktop app just kind of minimized to the side here, and my mobile phone is what we will be focusing on. So the first thing we'll cover is peer-to-peer messages. So peer-to-peer messaging is just striking a conversation with one other person. So any of the colleagues that you find in your directory, let's say you're in field and you're on your way to see a patient and you want to send a quick status to let them know of an ETA back in the office. Let me just initiate a message here to Matthew since I have him in my inbox already. So if you guys see my mobile app, I'm here on an iPhone. So any Android users, it's going to be a little bit different, but very similar to the native messaging feel on your device. So on iPhones, to create a new message, you'll see the pen and paper on the top right, similar to creating an iMessage. And for my Android users, you guys will see a plus sign on the bottom right, and that will be your go-to for any sort of a message or a group message as well. So I'll go ahead and click on the pen and paper here and initiate a conversation with Matthew. So I can search for him. I can also search by title and department. So if you guys can see my directory here, I can search for OT, I can search for my office manager, any of the aides and RNs, and that will give me a list of users with that title as well. But in my case, let me just search for Matthew here. I can click on him. Towards the bottom, you'll see the write a message pane. And that's where I'll go and say, on my way to visit patient Jane Doe, ETA, 15 minutes. I'll go ahead and send that through. Now, a couple of things to notice here while I've sent my first message. The first thing here is the message status. And if you guys saw there really quickly, it's cycled from sent to delivered and then over to read. So sent, when your message is in the sent status, that means it's been sent from your phone, but the recipient hasn't yet gotten a notification for it. So they may be in a bad Wi-Fi area, their data may not be on, or they're simply logged out of TigerText. When they do actually receive your message, it'll go over to a delivered message status. That means they've gotten a notification and it's in their inbox when they're ready to read it. And of course, when they do read it, as you see Matthew has here, I will get a red notification. Perfect. Thanks, Matthew. Okay. The other thing you'll notice here right next to that message status is the message lifespan. So let me just hover back here to my presentation. So the message lifespan is really going to govern how long messages stay in your TigerText conversation before they're deleted both from your phone and also from the recipient's device. And as we have it set right now, the message lifespan is 5 days. So 5 days from the day and time that I sent this message to Matthew, it'll just automatically delete out by itself through the conversation. And let's say tomorrow, if I were to check this message, it would say 4 days, and the counter would just go down day by day. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to just jump in and ask. This is meant to be an interactive training with discussion, so feel free to hop in with any questions at all.
That's what I was trying to do.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Any questions?
What do the little green dots on the contacts mean versus non-green dot people?
Great question. So let me go back to this little menu here. So the green dots that you see here means that the user has activated with TigerText. So this is to let you know that they've been logged in and they're ready for messaging. Some of the users that don't have that green dot means they haven't yet logged in and activated their account. So most likely if you were to send them a message, it would stay stuck in that sent status until they log in. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? All right. Great.
Ooh, that's better.
Okay, so I'm back in my conversation with Matthew here. I just went back to my inbox and clicked back on it. So the next thing we'll focus on here is the little toolbar right under the write a message pane here. So the first thing I'd like to highlight is the camera button. So a lot of use case when it comes to taking pictures, right? Let's say you're with a patient, you see there's a wound, you want to send a wound image to someone in your team, even for insurance information. So we have our central intake and billing team. If you ever need to send over a patient's insurance info, you can simply take a picture of, let's say, their card or insurance information and send this over. So let me quickly show what it looks like here. Just take a picture of my keyboard. And we can pretend it's PHI. So taking photos within TigerText houses this image securely within the app. And what I mean by that is this picture that I took, in the case it has insurance information, any sort of PHI about the patient, it's not going to be saved to my camera roll. So I don't have to worry about going back and deleting it. It's all within the app.
Under this, so because that thing doesn't ever stay.
Okay. Any questions from anyone?
I have a question regarding that.
Sure.
So, sorry, Sam. So, you talked about how messages only last 5 days, right?
Yep.
And they're deleted. So, for wound care patients, what if we want to refer back to a wound?
Yeah.
So, leave that, delete it.
Let's not touch it
Any
again.
more reference?
Sorry, there's a lot of background noise. I can barely hear you there. I apologize.
No, you're fine. My question is, for reference purposes, so what if we want to refer to a wound that's how it looked a month ago, but this is going to be automatically deleted after 5 days?
Sure. So what I can show is through the desktop app. So through the mobile app, if you do send a picture for security purposes, there's no option to, let's say, download it on your phone because it is patient-sensitive information. However, if we do want to, say, take this wound image, download it, and attach it to a patient's record for reference, since it does delete in 5 days, if you do access the desktop portion of TigetText, you have the option of clicking down on this attachment here and downloading it onto your computer for future references. We also have something that we call archiving. So for the purposes of our pilot, we do not have archiving turned on, but it is an option. So even if the messages do expire after 5 days, an archive will retain all messages, including attachments and documents that are sent, in case that you do need to refer to them later on or access and retrieve them.
Okay, yeah, because that would be my biggest concern.
Yes.
A lot of times we reference things that happened a while back, be it an order, or a conversation, or a picture.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would be extremely helpful.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great. Okay. So let me go back to my phone here. The next thing here is location sharing. That's the little pin here. So there's a couple of ways you can actually share your location. If I want to share, let's say I'm at a patient's home, I'm seeing them for our visit, and I want to send the status on where I'm currently at. What this will do, once I give it the access rights to do so, will share my current location. Okay. And let's say someone from the office says, oh, there's a new appointment that came up today for patient Smith. You need to go to, 123 Main Street and visit them. They can actually send me an address. I'm just going to make one up here. It's probably not going to be right. But someone can send an address in the similar format like this, and I can actually access it on my phone. So on my iPhone here, I have Apple Maps, and that will directly send me over to Apple Maps. On Androids, if you guys may have Google Maps, that's completely fine. It will integrate directly. So if you do receive a patient's address that you need to travel to, TigetText will pull up your map and you can get directions directly there. Okay. So location has kind of two use cases, either getting a location and having to travel there, or sharing your current location with someone from your team. Okay. The next thing I'll highlight here is the microphone option. So if you're seeing a patient and you want to record, let's say, any status changes or their current condition, if you're sending it to your care team or, again, someone to another colleague, it might be easier to just send a voice memo instead of having to type that message out. So I can say, let me just test this out here. Hi there, currently with patient Doe. It looks like she is experiencing some nausea and increased weakness and fatigue. We'll need to evaluate her further. I'll go ahead and end that and send it over. Now this voice memo will be available through the mobile app. So of course you can click and listen to it. If you're accessing again through the desktop app, you can click on the little attachment. You can download the voice memo for future reference. And again, if archiving is turned on, this will be archived into the archive hub. So again, down the line, let's say 3 or 4 months down the line, you need to access this voice memo, it will be available through the archive. Okay. So really it's a bit more streamlined way if you're at the patient's bedside or if you're communicating with them to really just put a voice memo instead of having to type a message out. All right. And the one I skipped over here is the little paper with the doggy ear. So what this does is integrates with any sort of cloud storage that you guys may use. This may be Dropbox, so if you guys put any downloads in there or documents that you need to refer to, if Dropbox or Google Drive or any of those cloud applications are also on your phone, we will integrate directly with them, and you can access those documents and send them securely within TigerText as well. So that is a little perk to having that little integration. Okay. And then the next little tool that I will focus on is the little handy microphone option down here on the keyboard. And this is the dictation tool, and most phones nowadays have this. So if instead of having to type something out, if you'd like to talk into the phone and have it type it out for you, TigerText will integrate with that as well. So let me really quickly show you here on my iPhone how this would work. I will be on my way shortly. And there we go. Again, just another little trick to streamline communication without having to manually type out something. Okay. Let me hop on over back to my little presentation here. So a couple of tools present both in person-to-person messaging and also group messaging are message forwarding and message recall. So message forwarding is really a way to share a picture or a message with another person or a group of people. So as you'll see when I show you guys right now, it's really a copy and paste interface. So if I wanted to press down on this image here, let's pretend, again, it's a wound image or it's some kind of insurance information for the patient, and I want to forward it on to someone from the billing staff. Let me just message it to the TigerText admin here so I don't inconvenience anyone. So here in my forward window, it looks just like the screen that we saw when I was creating a new message. It's going to show you the directory, and it's going to give you the option to include one person to forward it to, or I can put in multiple people here and start a group conversation with this forwarded message. So let's take a look at what it looks like when I actually forward the message here. So the recipient, in this case the TigerText admin, is going to see this picture that I forwarded. And at the top you'll notice that the name of the original sender is there as well. So in this case it was me, but let's say Matthew was the one who sent the image. It would say Matthew's name, and I can really quickly click on this little name and it will give me a hyperlink to his profile, and I can create a conversation with him if I need more reference to that picture that was sent. Okay. So that is the message forwarding option. And again, to access that, you just have to click down on the picture. Just press down on it gently, and you'll see that option to forward over. The next one that you'll notice here is message recall. So let me flip back over here. And message recall is a way to take back a message that you've sent, whether it's in the sent status, the delivered status, or the read status. The real big use cases for message recall is any typos, which inevitably happen when you're on your phone, or if you send it to the wrong person and it was meant to go to someone else. In that case, you can recall your message, you can edit it and put the right info in case of typos, or send it to the correct person in case it was sent to the wrong person. So let's imagine this, I will be on my way shortly here. I actually have to spend 30 more minutes with the patient. I won't be on my way. I want to press down on this message here and recall it. So I'll go ahead and click recall. And what this is going to do is take the message off from my screen, and Matthew will not be able to see the message as well. So it just pulls it out of the conversation. And if I want to send another one with some corrections, there we go. And now the conversation can continue. Matthew's going to know I'm just running a little bit late, and I won't be able to be there shortly. Okay. Any questions from anyone on the phone before we move on? All right. Okay. We're good. All right. So what we'll go ahead and transition over to now, since we've gone over person-to-person messaging, we took a look at all of those tools. Let's talk a bit about group messaging. So, of course, group messaging is giving you the option to collaborate with your care team. So if you need to pull in, your social workers, case managers, maybe you have to have a conversation with therapy or anyone from the care team that is involved with the patient at the moment. So it's going to be a private conversation with whoever you add into the group. It's going to look similar to person-to-person messaging. So when I create this group, you guys will see that the toolbar is there, the red statuses are basically going to be showing up in the same fashion. But really, it's to assist with care coordination and communicate any quick patient updates, like changes in condition, maybe the patient canceled their meeting or their visit with you and need to reschedule, they're not home, just to update the care team on any relevant updates. So let me go ahead and create a group. There's actually a few ways to do it. So if you'll notice, for my iPhone users, right next to your inbox here at the bottom, there will be a Groups tab. Navigating to that Groups tab is going to show you any current group conversations that you have going on. And if you just scroll down a little bit, there will be a search bar. So if there are any specific ones that you need to get a hold of, you can search them directly in the Groups panel. For my Android users, when you're in your inbox, towards the top here, you'll notice it'll say Inbox, and then it'll say Groups. So you can go ahead and click over to that pane and see a similar interface that the iPhone users do. Another way to create groups is just through the New Message button. So if I want to create a new message, I will have the option here to create a new group, and that's going to effectively do the same thing. So let's go ahead and create a group this way. And we can make it patient-centric. Let's say this is patient Jane Doe, date of birth, 1/19/1987. I'll go ahead and add Matthew and the TigetText admin. Let's pretend that's my care team, and I'll create the conversation here. Okay. So if you guys can notice, it looks, again, really similar to the person-to-person conversation. You have the ability to send pictures, your location, any voice memos. But the one thing that's a little bit different is the red status and the message status, since we have more than one person in the conversation. So let me take a second and send a message. Oh, in 10 minutes, we'll update on status, nausea, and weakness. Okay. So this little sent message status now is actually going to be a bit more interactive, since I have both the TigetText admin and Matthew in this group. So once people from the care team start reading the message, you'll actually get a counter of who has read it and who hasn't. And if I click on this 1 out of 2 read, I will get a breakdown of who within my group has read it. So I'll say, yep, Matthew's read the message. He's aware of what I sent through. The TigetText admin has not read the message yet. So you get that indicator of when the care team reads the messages that are sent through. And so let me go back here. The next thing that's a little bit different here, you'll notice there is a little group icon on the top right. And for Android users, you'll notice a little person with a plus sign and also an eye with a circle around it. And those are to manage your group conversation. So let's imagine we forgot to add someone into the group. We want to make sure that they're a part of the conversation that we're having about patient Jane Doe. I can scroll here to my group settings, and I have the option to add members into my group. And this is going to show me with the directory that I had, and I can either search or scroll down and make sure my entire care team is in this conversation. The other thing that's really helpful with group conversations is the ability to see any sort of attachments that are sent through. So once you have 4 or 5 people in a group and people are sending pictures, documents, A quick way to see and access those pictures and attachments is through this little attachments prompt here. Instead of having to scroll up and down, you'll have access to any sort of attachments that haven't yet expired in the conversation. All right. Okay, everyone comfortable with groups? Any questions?
I think we're good.
Okay, awesome. So let me X out of this. I'm back in my inbox here, so I'm just gonna quickly click on my groups tab, and you guys will notice here, I have my patient Jane Doe conversation there. And right towards the top here, next to my groups, you'll notice there's another prompt called broadcast lists. So clicking on broadcast lists, here we go. Broadcast lists are a little bit different than groups, but they are oftentimes confused. So I wanted to take a couple of seconds and just explain how it really works. Let me go back to my presentation here. So broadcast lists are a way to reach, it's like a distribution list to reach a broad list of people at one time. So as we have it set up right now, you have access to send a message either to everyone in the directory or to your TigetText admins, let's say in case you have any questions or issues. Broadcast lists are created by the organization's TigetText admins. So as you guys are going through the pilot and you're thinking, oh, it'd be great to have a broadcast list for, you know, all of our field staff. It'll be great to have a broadcast list for our office staff. Feel free to send us through those suggestions, and we can definitely create those and make sure they're available for use. So some common use cases that I thought would really resonate with you guys, one of them being the daily census. So you know, I've had some customers send through a census in the beginning of the day, any, you know, patients that need to be seen, any sort of schedule updates or new admissions, cancellations that would be beneficial for the entire team to know. That's what broadcast lists are good for. And I have a little example here. This client was very, very detailed when they sent out new admissions, but basically, you can see they send through the name of the patient, they would send through the address and contact information for the patient as well, and also a status of their current condition. Okay, so just a little example to go by, but of course in no ways a template. We can be flexible and really get broadcast lists to work for however you guys want to use it in your workflow. So if I was to send out a broadcast list, I won't send it to everyone so I don't have your phones going off, but I can send it over to my admins here so we can just sort of see what it looks like. I can either send it through here in my groups tab by clicking on admins. This will just create a new message for me. But you can also send it through a couple of more ways. One of them, of course, is through the new message button. So I can click on new message and search for everyone. And you'll see the little broadcast list icon will show up as well. Or I can show or search for admins and have access to my administrators. And there's also a quick way to access broadcast lists through this little loudspeaker on the top left. So I can just click on my admins here. And I can say something like, looks like the system is down. Can I get assistance? So what will happen when you send a broadcast list to the admins? So Matthew, you will be getting a message right now. Maybe you can show it to the staff around you. It's basically going to come directly from the sender. So it'll say it came from Sandy. And at the beginning of the message, instead of saying the person's name right here, it'll say admin in brackets to let the recipient know that this was a broadcast message that was sent to them. So if Matthew were to respond back to my broadcast, it wouldn't pull everyone in a group conversation. It will come directly back to me. So it's a one-to-many communication when you initiate the broadcast, and then it becomes a private conversation between who responds and who sent it. Does that sort of make sense to everyone? I know it's a bit complicated, but again, it's like a distribution list sort of a workflow. I want to just open it up and see if there are any questions or any thoughts from anyone on how you guys think you could use it. Any comments?
I think it's great. I do that all the time where I turn off my group text messaging, send one text to everybody.
Yeah.
So that's super handy for that.
Awesome. Okay, love the feedback. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. Just a couple of things I wanted to touch on before I just open it up to Q&A. Oh, there is Casey. Let me just respond back. There we go. Awesome. So the next tab here, right next to the Groups tab, is the Directory tab. So Android users, you will see towards your inbox on the top right, a little magnifying glass, and that will give you access to the directory. So the directory is a way to see a list of everyone who's in. It's going to look really similar to the same list that you get when you click on the new message button. But you can search for title. If I want to see all my OTs, I can get a really good idea of that. If I want to see the Utah County folks, I can just search for UTC and that entire list will pop up. So again, just an interactive way to find someone and then click and message through to them if needed.
Zach, when she opens up for questions,
okay.
ask her how to get contacts on my Android because it didn't pull in.
Was that a question there?
Oh, sorry, I thought we were on mute. I've got an Android phone and I don't have the contacts showing up.
Okay. Are you looking at your inbox or on a different window?
I went inbox, I tried groups, I went to contacts,
Okay. At the top of your phone, does it say Rocky Mountain Care?
Yeah, now it does.
Okay. There you go. When you're in the Rocky Mountain Care directory, that's when you'll have access to all of the internal contacts.
But I only have one.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
We got it.
We got it.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Great. All right. So we touched on the directory, and the last piece is the settings. And there's a couple of really important things in the settings that I want to touch on. Again, for my Android users, it's going to look a little bit different from my screen. If you're in your inbox and you want to access your settings, there will be a gear icon, a little settings icon, again, towards the top right that you can click on. For my iPhone users, it's going to be the little settings menu on the bottom right. And this is going to take you over to a little overview. You can, of course, change your avatar. You could put a little status. I always like to put my phone number in case someone needs to get a hold of me. But the really important setting is actually right below that. It's the Do Not Disturb setting. So what this will do, it's really similar to putting your phone on Do Not Disturb. So let's say you're off shift, you're out of the office for X amount of days. You can put yourself on Do Not Disturb, and you will still get all of your messages. They will come through fine when you access the app. You can see them and respond to them. However, it will silence the notifications. So if you're visiting a patient, you're at their bedside, you're talking to them, you don't want to get all of those TigetText notifications coming through. You can put yourself on Do Not Disturb with a short message. And if someone tries to get a hold of you while you're on Do Not Disturb, it will automatically send this to them so they have some sort of an indication that you're currently busy. So really handy setting to use when needed, when necessary. And users will actually get a little indicator. So if I'm on my phone here and I want to make sure that I'm not on Do Not Disturb or I am on Do Not Disturb, I will get a visual indicator. So I'll know that my auto replies are being sent to anyone trying to contact me. If you guys try to send me a message, feel free to do so. You can just search for my name in the directory, Sandy. You will get my auto reply right away, and I will get your message through. But if my phone was locked, I would just not get the notification. So senders will also see a little Do Not Disturb, like this little sign here in red. So you guys will get both that auto reply and also a visual that I am currently away. All right. So that is the Do Not Disturb setting. I'll give everyone just a second if you guys do want to just see what it looks like if you message me. And then I'll turn it off later. So scrolling down here, you do have the option to change your alert sound if you'd like. There's a few different things. I like to set it to the tiger. It really gets your attention. It's a little roar. Otherwise, you can just keep it like a little alert or a little ping if you don't want it to be very loud.
That's the first tiger. Oh, I was like,
yeah, the tiger is the popular one.
oh God, not that one. Don't do that one.
Going on. Okay, and the last couple of things that I'll touch on here in the settings, one of them is the change password. So everyone got a temporary password this morning. If you guys, well, you should, it's recommended that you go in and change your password to something a bit more secure and personal. You can go into the change password. At the top, you'll see the requirements. It's really simple, just a minimum of 8 characters, a capital letter, a number, and a special character. So get creative and make sure it's something that you'll remember. And going forward, you can use that password. And then the last thing that's really helpful here is the help prompt. So if you guys want to access our FAQs, bunch of info in there, if you guys need to get a hold of our support team for any kind of questions, also feel free to come to me with any questions. I'm in the directory, so you guys can TigerText me. And there's also a training resources link here that has some videos, some PDFs. If you guys want to browse through that and get familiar, that is very helpful as well. Just a little help center to get started with TigerText. Okay. And one other thing I'd like to point out is the mobile app will keep you logged in indefinitely. So if I were to, close the application and I click back on it, it'll automatically keep me signed in. I'll get all of my alerts. Clicking on the log out button will log you out, and you'll no longer receive any alerts through your phone. So make sure that you're logged in at all times to make sure you get your notifications and messages from everyone in your directory. All right. So that about takes care of the mobile training here. So I know we have a few minutes, looks like 18 minutes here. So I'll open the floor up to Q&A and any sort of questions on any of the features that we went through, or any general questions about TigerText. So anyone?
I had a quick question.
Sure.
Do those passwords expire?
No. So TigerText will not enforce any kind of password policies or expiration. If there's, any internal policies around changing passwords, that's what we recommend to go by. TigerText will not enforce it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, I have a question. I wonder if I can access this through my personal phone as well. Is it tied to a phone number, or can I access this through the app?
So if you were to switch between phones?
Yeah, I have an Android and I have an iPhone that's my personal phone. So a work phone and a personal phone.
Oh, yeah, that's completely fine. So you could actually be logged into both phones at once if needed. We tie your account to your email address. So if you are on multiple phones with different phone numbers, that will be no problem.
That is great. Also on his, Sandy,
Benjamin Robinson. On his, we're on an Android here, and in the upper left-hand corner, it doesn't say Rocky Mountain Care, it says RMCARE.com.
Oh.
I hadn't checked. We're using my device to run this, so I wasn't able to get into my list and see for sure that we had him as a user. I'm not sure if he created a new user, but it's not pulling any of the information, so we need to check on that one.
Yeah, sure. We can definitely do that. I don't see him in the directory here, so he may just tied to a free account. So we'll take him out of that RMCARE directory and pull him into the Rocky Mountain Care pilot directory. Yeah, it'll be pretty
I'll set him up as soon as we're done. That's what I figured, is that he wasn't initially on the list. So
yeah,
I'll take care of that.
sounds good. Any more questions from anyone on the call?
Any more questions, guys?
I just wanted to also put out there that this training was
Hang on a sec.
so if you guys do need to refer back to any of the material we covered, I'll be sharing this recording with the team, and we'll be making it available to everyone to look at later going on.
You got one more question.
Sure.
So this is all data driven, right? Not through SMS, through data. So you got to be connected. Got to have a cellular data connection, I'm guessing. Is that right?
Yeah, so we work through Wi-Fi and through data. So if you're on your Wi-Fi, we will not be using any of your data plan. It won't count as an SMS if you're on Wi-Fi. If you are using your data plan, I believe the breakdown is about 1,000 TigerText messages add up to, I believe, 1 gigabyte of data. So it's very, very small, even when you're just using your data plan. Any pictures or attachments will, of course, use a little bit more, and we can definitely track this through your phones as well. Battery life and data should not really be affected.
On 1,000 messages, is that, I heard you say 1 gig. Is that 1 gig or 1 meg?
Let me double check. It might be 1 meg. I always confuse my megs and my gigs, so you guys have to keep me honest here. Give me one.
That's crazy.
Well, my question, or my reason for asking that, Sandy, is
Sure.
in the occasion that we're out of like a service area, we probably won't get the message until we have data, right? On our phone, either through Wi-Fi or cellular data.
Yes, so if your phone does not have either Wi-Fi or cellular data, the messages will not be delivered. Again, similar to any sort of text messages that you may receive on your phone or any other apps, it does require some sort of data connection, either Wi-Fi or cell data.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Sandy.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Sandy, hey, this is Dustin. I got a quick question for you about workflow. Do you guys have any resources for us about common workflows? For us, I mean, it's pretty intuitive, but we're going to have to coordinate. What are we sending to each other? What stuff shouldn't we? Meaning, like maybe it should just go in the patient record. It's just stuff like that. Do you guys have any resources? We're up here in the insurance and billing department, and we're already starting to question among ourselves. Okay, well, when would we be sending something out through TigerText versus something else?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. We do have, I believe we do have some workflows documented. I could get with Jessica, my sales director, and we can work through and make some suggestions, especially when we have some touch points for the pilot progress. And any workflows that you guys think of that you want to go ahead and send over to us, we can document these. And we do have transactional data in the back end. So if we want to see, any sort of reporting, who's messaging who, how many attachments are being sent, what sort of departments or cohorts are talking more to one another, we can pull specific reports as well and really analyze those workflows that you guys are uncovering. Great.
Will this app not support my swipe keyboard?
A swipe keyboard?
Yeah.
Swipe keyboard, it won't let me do it.
I'm not really familiar with that, but I can go ahead and direct that over to our client care team and see if they have come across it. So swipe. Okay. Let me take that one back. Great.
Millennial?
That would be those driving there, you know, there's.
So those, yeah.
And if there was something,
But I use when I have that keyboard, I typically will do the talk to you. Well, yeah, I really was having the same one. Like if you want to add a picture, it's already on your phone. Like the settings are a little bit different.
You push too hard.
So, are we still?
Are you still there, Sandy?
Yeah, I'm still here. Just waiting for any
Check.
questions from anyone else.
Any more questions, guys?
Okay.
For Sandy? No?
Thanks, Sandy.
Hey, I think we're good.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you guys are very welcome. Thank you for your time today. And Matthew and Zach, I will be just generating this recording, and I will share it with you guys as soon as it's ready to go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, happy Tiger texting, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.